The reasons for these hard times for the press is, of course, mainly the internet. And with the development of internet, people have got used to get free access to the news and to also have an immediate access to the news. Newspapers cannot really compete with that, since when they're published, usually their content is already available for several hours on the internet. But the impact of that new competition from the net is that sales are severely declining. Ad revenues as well are declining, since now they are shared between the papers' editions of the newspapers and their internet competitors. The wide development of internet has made that news has become a free facility for people, and now nobody is ready to pay anymore to have, like, these really hard and simple headlines of the news. Maybe people are still ready to pay for like more in-depth analysis, but like the news agencies contents or this kind of wired news, people access it for free and they're not ready to pay anymore for it. The result of that is what I could call a kind of vicious circle, actually. With less financial means, newspapers have had to reduce their teams to work with less people, and now the news that they produce actually is more and more similar in quality to what is produced and what is given away for free on the internet. So they still have to sell their newspapers, but the difference between what they offer and what the internet offers for free is not that big anymore. There is no sign, sadly, that the sale of the paper press will increase again in the future. So many newspapers have put their hopes on the development on the internet, hoping that if they developed a good web platform, the loss of revenues from the print would be compensated by the revenues made on the internet. New York Times has been doing that, and despite they are the newspaper that is being the web newspaper that is being the most widely read in the world, it doesn't seem that they make a lot of money with that. So actually, a few people now begin to advocate some hybrid models where some of the contents would be available for free and other would be available for a sum of money. They need to find a way to facilitate payments on the internet. A good example of a successful, easy payment solution has been the iTunes Store in the iTunes software. And on this idea, a journalist from the New York Times, David Carr, has suggested to invent an iTunes for News, where you could easily, in a couple of clicks, make some micropayments to buy just the content that you would like to access from newspapers. With these kinds of easy payments, people would be more inclined to spend some money to access very unique analysis or value-added news that is not available in every newspaper. I think a trend in the future might be customization, and I guess that maybe one day we will come back to some printed support, but the printed newspaper would not be a standard newspaper. It might be, I can imagine in the future, in 5 years or in 10 years, customized newspapers that you print at home, where you have articles that you selected by yourself and that you paid for using a micropayment, maybe a few cents for an article, and that you combine together so everybody will have their own personal newspapers. If this can develop, if the micropayments can develop, if the customization can develop, maybe there can be an optimistic future for newspapers.